Hey viewers, welcome back to Ray of All Trades. Today we're working on a Husqvarna handheld blower. It's a 125 BV model. I don't want to attempt to start this because the very first thing I did, he said it was sitting a really long time. The very first thing I did was I smelled the gas and it smelled horrible. So I don't want to prime it and pull all that dirty gas in there. So the very first thing I'm going to do is empty all that out of there and let's put some fresh gas in it and see what we have. I guess the original complaint when it was parked a couple years ago was that it would only run for a short period of time and then it would stop. Yeah, that looks pretty bad. Got a lot of dirt in it, looks like moisture. And the fuel line's completely off of it. I don't know if y'all saw that. I just reached out and grabbed it and just pulled it up and it came right out. So obviously that wouldn't have run. Alright, I know that I need to reattach and replace some fuel lines. So let's go ahead and get that carburetor off of there, so that I can access the fuel lines on the tank. Very likely, since he said it was only running for a short period of time and then it would start to get tough to run. I think we also want to take a peek at this muffler and make sure that the cylinder is not all scored up. That's kind of cool. I wonder if it's supposed to do that. Let's take a peek at the cylinder. Oh no, it's got a little bit of scoring. It's kind of crazy, it's got all that foam and stuff coming out of it. I'm fairly confident that this motor is just toast. The cylinder is scored up on it, but let's take it down and see what we have, what we're working with. So it's probably not worth fixing. Comes off the reverse thread, by the way. these go all the way through. Okay. This one's normal thread. Pull the motor apart. So the carburetor is attached to the cylinder here, and it's attached to the base down here. And there we go. She's really not marked up that bad. Just got some extra carbon and stuff and rust and stuff in the bottom. I might be able to pull off that ring and reuse this thing. I mean, look at all that carbon and stuff that's all built up on there. All that grit is getting down in here and making lines. But I might be able to clean some of this up. And I literally just had one of these rings that got shipped to me by accident, and I returned it. That'll teach me. Check the ring end gap real fast. No, the ring end gap's actually not bad. And then you can kind of see the scoring. I don't know if y'all can or not. Let's pull out that ring real fast. You guys focus on those vertical lines that are coming through there. Can't really feel it with your fingers though. But it's very likely all that carbon that was up inside there and all the carbon that's on top of here. To help, you can kind of see. And then that fuel line that broke is right here. So this obviously was the one coming from the tank that I pulled out at the very beginning with the filter on the end of it. They went into the tank like that. All right, let me see what I can find as far as parts for this thing. Some of these you can get the entire engine and everything for 20, 30 bucks. So before I start cleaning and polishing and honing and everything else and wasting my time, I want to find out A, does the customer want to do it? And B, is it worth it? I'll be back with you guys. Did some research and I cannot find parts for this thing at all. I really wanted a cylinder and piston for it, and it's all because it has this round inlet right here. It's just really hard to find parts for this thing. I was going to be a couple $100 in used parts just trying to get this thing a replacement. So I did the unthinkable and I put the piston on the wire wheel. You know, the brass wire wheel, and I cleaned it up, and it actually cleaned up pretty well. The bearings actually seem to roll pretty smooth. I was able to clean up the inside of the cylinder here, and I noticed that this gasket is a rubber gasket, which if this started leaking and made it run lean, that would have caused it. Against my better judgment, I just really want to try to put this thing back together and see if I can get any life out of it at all. And then when it finally burns up, go ahead and get rid of it. So let's go ahead and put the ring back on it. We already checked the ring end gap. Tell you what, we're also going to clean up this ring a little bit. Be very careful with these rings because they are extremely brittle. See, locator pins right here, and the ring needs to be sitting like that. Has the two slopes on it, you know, one going this way, one going that way, which fits that locator pin. So it's going to sit in there like that. Let's lube up the inside of the cylinder. This, I don't need to do a ring compressor on it because I won't be able to get one down inside there, but the cylinder's tapered, so I should just be able to squeeze it together. And then the tapered shaft side is going to go towards the coil. It should sit about like that. I just want to check it and make sure that it spins. Make sure that's smooth. I'm just going to gently put this on here for just a second. Seems to rotate okay in there. So I'm going to say let's try to seal this thing up. See if we can make it work. I got some 1184 gasoline resistant sealant. Just make a small mess here for just a second and then I'll clean it up. Let's get this edge where that's going to seal. Yep, that is a giant mess of sealant on here. I am going to try to make this work. T20. Yep, T20. Alright, that bolts on right through there. Just gonna get that intake attached. What screws went there, y'all remember? I'm losing my mind. Can't tell if this air box is fighting me. Let's just get it out the way. Wow, it goes right in when you got stuff out the way. The 2 plastic screws with the coarse threads. And we've got these 3 that have the shoulder on them. Here's my little 1/4 inch impact. This one is a righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, so righty-tighty. 1/2 inch. This impact is a little stronger than I thought it was. I mean, I'm trying to be real careful when I'm using that. We've got this one. And this one's reverse thread. Looks like it goes in like that. A rubber grommet goes there. Symptoms of a exhaust screen being plugged would be you're trying to rev it up and it'll just never reach maximum RPMs. It just kind of dies. Everybody assumes that it's a carburetor adjustment. There's just not enough opening for the exhaust to leave. So because of all the restriction that occurs on that screen. And yeah, that screen, I've seen worse, but it definitely is time. So I'm going to heat that up with a torch and get that burnt off of there. And I'm probably going to need to clean out a carburetor. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this one at an angle just so I know where it goes back. I'm trying to piece it back together. I'm going to cut it right here in half. A really steep angle. And I know where it came from. Let's see what's going on with this carburetor. Metering diaphragm is actually not torn or stiff, not making any kind of clicking noises. Metering section is actually fairly clear. Fuel pump screen has got a lot of dirt inside it. The fuel pump itself is actually deformed. And that gasket's not terrible. So anyway, the fuel pump side of it is actually really dirty, and there's a lot of dirt inside that screen right there. Clean out the carburetor, some new fuel lines. We might give this thing a try. A second try at life anyway. Alright y'all, I found a rebuild kit for this thing. I just happened to have one in stock. I don't even know what the part number for this thing is because it came in a generic bag. Let's pull out the old screen. Put the new one in. Okay. Then we should be looking at diaphragm, and then make sure that the reed valves are covering up the holes appropriately, just to know that you got it right. Yeah, it's that gasket and that gasket. See, I'm going to imagine that we have to have a good impulse line coming off of there. That's that small hole on the carburetor and in the gasket. Alright, let's throw some fuel lines on this thing real quick. Let's see, so this one here is attached to the top of the carburetor. Let's get a measurement. This is the one that I cut on purpose. Make sure that I had the right one. That one went to what appears to be the short barb on the primer bulb. Yep, suction line on the primer bulb. Goes up to the carburetor right here. Let's get that attached so I don't forget. Let's see, the other one coming off the primer bulb. Looks like it just went into the top of the tank. About there. Which would make sense because this is the return. So if that goes to the top of the tank, that means I literally just need to push it till it just comes out this side, because that's just fuel return. There we go, just sticking out. And then this side was the one that the end broke off of it, which was the long fuel line. And it looks like it comes off the bottom of the carburetor. Right here. So let's see. Should be about that length right there. I don't plan on using this connection anymore. First off, it's mostly mangled. And second off, there's usually no need for it. Cut that to size. It's going to go right onto here. And this needs to go through this rubber grommet. And I need to get that piece out of there. There we go. I cut it just a little bit long so that I could grab it with a pair of pliers. pull it on through. So the old one was right about there. There you go, popped right on. Yeah, let me get the gasket on here. All the fuel lines are in place. Let's make sure. Yep, so that lever is pulling that trigger up, which is a good thing. You can see it moving, and if I move that handle, I can see that. Yep, choke works. This cover didn't even snap into anything, did it? So I just need to loosen those up, put it back in. All right, lesson learned. Whoops, I did forget something. The exhaust screen. I hooked it up on the bench and actually burned all the soot off of it. I need to put it back on. Looks like I need that plastic cover off to be able to take that out of there too. All right, those two. Now this. That looks acceptable. And they were using one of these to hold it together. All right, let's give it some gas and see if this really fast, I'm not gonna even call it a repair, I'm gonna call it a cleaning. I know, it's the wrong compression gauge. Yes, it's made for cars. See, the throttle's wide open. Oh yeah, built plenty of compression. Okay, you got my mixture adjusting screwdriver, got my Phillips head to adjust the idle speed. It said prime this 10 times. I already primed it before I realized that the camera wasn't recording. Then it says full choke for 3 pulls, half choke until it starts. or that. Let's see. Alright, so I brought it up until it started to die the other way and put it back to the middle. Let's see. Let's go back to the beginning of this thing. Alright, let's go half, 1, let's go 1 1/4. It's all the way closed, so I want to go half, 1, 1 1/4. Let's try that. Well, I think we got that one done. Well, I brought another one back from the grave, at least for the time being. I don't know how long it's going to last. I mean, that motor is not in great shape, surprisingly, because it pulled really good compression. I hope you guys got something out of the video. Really appreciate you hanging out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.